believe we are live.
Here we are
for the inaugural edition of Randomized Revenue. God help us, we're going to do our darndest.
Let's do it.
So we'll go ahead and get things started here. I wanted to go ahead and just put a couple of ground rules, talk about the format, talk about some qualifiers about how we plan to go about this. We'll do a couple of quick introductions for those of you that may not know Rob or myself, and then talk a little bit about what the outcome is that we're hoping for here. So first of all, quick introduction. My name is Jaron Bosberg. I'm the Vice President of Partnerships at Jump Crew. I've been here for 6 years. I'm mostly responsible for building plans just like what we're going to attempt here, not for random websites, but typically for companies that are looking to increase their sales velocity, build more pipeline, and close more deals. And I have worked with Rob for about that long, and he's been here even a little bit longer than I have.
I'm Rob Solberg. I'm the Senior Vice President of Partnerships at Jump Crew. I've been Jump Crew a little bit more than 6 years. I've worked with Jaron the whole time, having conversations with hopeful customers and prospects, talking about, pipeline and sales process and what we can do to help them accelerate deal flow or revenue value of their customers. We spend a lot of time working with businesses on go-to-market strategy, which I think is sort of a roundabout way what we'll be doing today, but excited to do this with Jaron. This will be super fun.
Cool. And see, I've got a note that we're not quite up just yet. So let me make sure that we're rocking and rolling here. Stand by.
Cool.
Okay, that looks like we should be good. I think it's just on a little bit of a delay. Cool. All right.
So what do we do now?
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Couple of quick qualifiers. So qualifier number one is the company has to be B2B. So we're going to do our best to find something that's B2B. That's going to make the most sense for this format.
Yep.
Qualifier number two is we have to have reasonably enough to work from. I don't know what's going to be on the website, but if it's just bare bones and we've got no guidance whatsoever, then it's not going to be a good fit for us. Format of this is we're going to use 30 minutes to get as much of this done as possible. I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you just pretty much what we're hoping to accomplish. So we outlined just a couple of ideas here. Think about this as, okay, I'm going to hand an absolute bare bones baseline of something that a sales team or a sales leader could use to actually say, all right, I'm going to get started. So some of the things that we want to accomplish are obviously finding the company. We're going to talk about what are their features, what are their benefits, who's the buyer persona, who they could be selling to. Is there any collateral available that we feel like they could use in a sales process? What would our elevator pitch be? Like if somebody asked me at a bar, what I'm selling, can I explain it pretty simply? Is there an opportunity for paid ads? Does it even make sense there? And we can even play around in the back end of LinkedIn Campaign Manager, and then talk a little bit about total addressable market. So I've got Seamless AI loaded as well, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Let's get a sense as to who's out there that we think would even buy this darn thing, and how would we go about doing it? The outcome of this is, could we get a baseline sales audit essentially that we could give to somebody that they could start using? So we typically don't do this in only 30 minutes. Usually this is a couple of weeks process. So we're going to do the best that we can. I used to use a website called Stumble Upon, which doesn't exist anymore, but I did find this website called Discover. And by clicking that button there, it will take us to a random website across the web, and we're going to do our best to pick whichever one we think we can actually work with. So that's the format. Those are the qualifiers. And I think as long as we're ready, we should give this button a whirl.
I mean, feels risky to me, but let's go.
Okay, let's see what we get.
No whammies.
Website number one, willrobotstakemyjob.com.
Yeah, perfect. The answer is yes. Next.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. Obviously, they're monetizing with some display ads, so they're doing something.
They sure are.
So if they're monetizing this in some way, I think that we can fairly say skip this one.
I don't see a product.
All right, don't see a product here. Let's try this again. Oh, copy paste character. We're off to a great start. Can we monetize this? No, I don't think so. So we're gonna
it's not a B2B anyway. It's crazy.
Not B2B. Oh boy, here we go. All right. Mailinator. Okay.
Good.
All right, we're going to work with this. So Mailinator it is. So let's go ahead and just put this in here. We are going to work with Mailinator. Okay. Their website is mailinator.com. Boom. Okay. So first thing I see here, email and SMS workflow testing. So this is for devs and QA testing teams to automatically test their SMS and email workflows like two-factor authentication, verification, sign-ups, password resets, trillions of inboxes at your fingertips. Okay. All right. So it allows developers, QAs, and assessor workflow. Okay, cool. So let's talk about that as like a feature. Let me clear the formatting on this. Okay, so this would be automatic. So a feature here would be automatically test SMS and email workflows with trillions of. Okay, cool. So that seems pretty clear. We'll probably expand on this a little bit more. So like you close the loop on email SMS testing. That sounds like a benefit.
Yes.
Okay.
QA, I see at the bottom, sort of in the middle of the website, QA testing teams, developers around the globe use Mailinator to route email and SMS messages with an ever-growing set of features, including webhooks and our API.
All right, so it seems like QA testing teams and
Yeah.
developers feels like the buyer persona. They've mentioned that twice.
Yeah, load testing is a big deal here, so it's definitely going to be on the development side.
I mean, I'll give them credit. Like the website looks nice. It's clean.
It's a great website.
All right, so QA, email receipt testing, load testing.
They got pricing right below there. There's the pricing. I mean, they've got it really well laid out. The blog is active. They're posting pretty, several times a year, it looks like, with good relevant content.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. They've got why. So here's QA, email testing. So these are use cases. Let's see if they have, okay, those are careers, support, general support, FAQs. This might be helpful. What features do I get? Here we go. Here's a prompt I made. Okay, so there's a good features list. Does a bunch of okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is like, what's the problem? Like, if I'm a developer or I'm a head of QA, what's the problem I'm trying to solve for?
That's a good question. I think these are developers who are moving probably typically a high volume of emails, and testing for deliverability on that volume is probably really complicated. And this will, and they do the SMS thing too, which is interesting. This seems like a sandbox for devs to play in to make sure things fire at the right time, and when fired, that things go to the right place.
Oh, wait, you know what? Here we go. So here's an answer to my question. It says Mailinator was born out of an idea that wasn't originally meant to solve anything. However, as a community of users like yourself that began to find new and inventive ways of technology, Mailinator supports hundreds of test teams developed around the globe who rely on our support. So do we. Says Mailinator. Well, that didn't help me at all. Okay, that didn't help me at all.
We're also not devs, man.
That's for sure.
Look, they've been around at least 20 years, though. They've been doing this a while.
Okay, here we go. So gain efficiency for automating the testing of your workflows. I like that. Gain efficiency format. Okay. Close the loop, gain efficiency. I would say things like seamless and predictable testing.
I found a profile on Crunchbase.
Okay.
Asana
1-800 contacts. Asana 1-800 contacts. These are great logos.
Yep.
Quicken and MasterCard. Quicken, MasterCard. Okay, so now I'm going to look and see what we got in here. Mailinator.
That's them.
Okay. All right, so relatively small. Well, I mean, they've got great logos for their size. Okie dokie. Okay, I was already there. Let me look at them on LinkedIn. Just going to see if I could get anything else on the value prop. Those are my part 2 of my podcast. Great catch up. Is there anything great team over Mailinator? Okay, great. So they're active here, which is awesome. Looks like they're a sponsor at an event in Chicago next month. Awesome. Okay, well, this is great. So they're definitely active. Looks like they've got some thought leadership in the space.
And they get great reviews. They've got a 4.6, 74 reviews on Capterra. They've got a bunch of reviews on G2. It's a really well-respected tool.
Okay, say that again. What are the reviews like on?
74 reviews on Capterra with a 4.6. 8 reviews on G2 with a 4.5. GetApp, they've got 74. Well, they might be pulling from Capterra. Yeah, Capterra 74 reviews with a 4.6. So again, it's a well-respected tool.
Okay, awesome. And then one thing I'm going to check is see if they're running any paid ads here. No. Okay, so they're not currently running ads on LinkedIn. Okay, so not.
But here are a couple use cases. I'm reading the reviews. A great solution for a mail sandbox in order to use during the development process of web apps. This user was using it to set up multiple accounts without having to actually assign names and personal information to make testing logins super easy.
Cool.
Neat.
That's such a great place to look, by the way. Like if you have reviews, your current customers are going to tell you the most about the benefit that they're getting from the service. So if you're looking for anything to put on the front end during the sales process, pulling stuff from your reviews are amazing. Can't speak highly enough about interviewing your current customers.
Yeah, and it's also so important in terms of getting new customers. I mean, assuming we're in the market for a tool like this, the first thing I'm going to do is go look at the reviews.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let me see. I want to start thinking about total addressable market. I actually feel like this could probably be a director influenced based on the pricing, right? Like I feel like if you're using
not expensive,
even the enterprise, like this is super reasonable. So you can probably get a champion buy-in at the director. I almost
absolutely. Small teams will use this. Small development teams inside a larger development organization will use this. They'll make that decision at a small team level.
Yeah. I feel like you could even include manager there, like manager of quality assurance. I don't know, it might be. Let me see here if I can get that granular.
So I will point out that the reviews that I'm looking at, it shows me how big the company size is of the people who are reviewing. And most of these companies have thousands of employees. Most of them. There are some that are smaller, but most of them are looking like it's 5,000 employees and above.
Okay, I like that. And I mean, that matches with Asana, 1-800 contacts, MasterCard, all that. Yeah. So let's go no lower than like 1,000.
I think that's right. That's right.
And let's just see what we've got there. Okay. I mean, software quality assurance manager at Sony.
There you go. I mean, so QA is like a real title in the dev world. So I think I would start with all the QA people, all the QA engineers.
Yeah, then let's narrow that down a little bit further. Then I'm actually going to just make this because I feel like the use cases might be slightly different.
Yeah, for sure.
Quality assurance. I mean, gosh, I have no concerns about total addressable market. No. Then it just becomes a question of like, if you've got 2 contacts at Astellas Pharma, who's the right person? Like clinical quality assurance.
No, that's for the medicines themselves, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So I wonder if I use exact match. Okay, that's because I'm not putting anything in there. Maybe I'm going to add that development back because I think that helped. I don't want overnight. Oh, well, there you go. What do I have? IT, industries contact, manager of technology.
So I'll point out that according to Indeed, email campaign QA specialist is a role. It's a title. And there are 134 jobs right now available on Indeed for email campaign QA specialist. That's really tight. That's like incredibly niche. But my point is, we start there, maybe fan out. Like maybe we start there and pull out instead of starting broad and pulling in.
Yeah, well, we're going after Tom.
Tom, it is.
Oh boy, is Tom gonna hear it? Okay, so let me try this. Email campaign quality assurance development. Can I not comma those? Oh, I have to add them individually. Quality assurance email campaign. Senior quality.
How many?
Over 100,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we would definitely want to get this down. I wonder if that falls under a marketing.
No, I don't. I bet it doesn't.
You don't think so?
Not for this use case. I don't think it probably does.
Director design QA.
These the use cases I'm seeing in the reviews. These are software engineers. These are developers.
Okay, this might be somebody.
And the use case I continue to see is using Mailinator to create dummy addresses, multiple dummy addresses for workflow and software testing.
Okay.
Making it easy to test complex workflows, multiple inboxes without toggling between them.
Quality assurance development. And then employee size, search.
I bet if we narrowed it down to team lead. See, can you put team lead in there?
Yeah.
How many?
Over 63,000. That includes these. So quality assurance team lead, senior software developer team lead.
But look at the logos. Look, AT&T, Accenture, Bank of Singapore. I mean, that's what it look. I mean, that looks right. Atlassian, based on the reviews and stuff that I've seen, this looks like the right audience.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me.
These are Fortune 5000s. Looks like that's pretty much the pond they're fishing in.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. So from there, I think what I'd probably do is two things. One is I would create a first pass at this list. Obviously, we're not going to do 63,000.
No.
I'd probably go through these and see if I could narrow it even further, at least excluding ones that just straight up don't sound like a good fit, like catalog operations. Like this sounds like a good one. Okay.
There's a bunch of good ones in here.
I definitely think that there's a play for paid ads in two ways. One, call to action paid ads, and then definitely just some retargeting, especially as the team is
it's a defined audience. Like you can dial in on who the audience is. They're online. They're doing search and due diligence. You can serve ads for sure. How do you feel about email marketing for this? I mean, I think you get a big message out to a lot of people really quickly. Would you consider putting together like an email campaign since we can define the audience?
I think that I would with opt-in. Like I wouldn't want to just put those contacts into an email campaign, but I think that there's an opportunity for thought leadership here for folks at Mailinator to actually have some. It looks like they're kind of doing it already, to be honest. Some recurring thought leadership of actually walking through the process of how this work is done well.
Yeah.
So if they had guests on the podcast and then they collected webinar attendee email addresses, and then they just did a soft nurture campaign on those, like not call to action based, but all value add, thought leadership, how-tos, like here's most common pitfalls during, email campaign QA, like that can be really valuable.
Yep.
So I would also recommend retargeting the outbound prospect list via LinkedIn list upload. So you can just upload that list into LinkedIn and you can retarget that specific.
There's a good use case here for webinars too, like really informative webinars. Like, hey, devs, we all struggle with these core problems. Let's talk about how this tool addresses some of those problems.
Yep, I'm going to do seniority, director, VP, function would be IT, job titles equals quality assurance, development, email campaign, let's say companies, employee count is 1,000 plus. Because I'd have to imagine that, I wonder if this is just a flat monthly rate or if this is by user.
It's probably by user, as cheap as it is. It's pretty inexpensive.
3 private domains. Yeah, you're right. So 3 private domains. So you can test this, mess around with it, and it's in that, like you said, sandbox environment.
I'd make one change to your notes on the other side. I wouldn't classify this as IT. I think you'll get a lot of like help desk and support people in there, which is not what we want. I would put it specifically as like software or development or DevOps or something like that.
Okay, that's good.
The other thing, they run a tight little tech stack over there. I used BuiltWith to see what they've got on the back end, and they're running HubSpot. I'd love to know what they're using HubSpot for and HubSpot Analytics. And they've got Hotjar on there, which I think is super cool. But they're running a WordPress site, and I don't see a bunch of needless plugins, or it's a pretty tight, succinct stack they've got.
Cool. Okay. CRM, total addressable market, paid ads. Okay, so let's talk about collateral. I think that they can pull anything from all of these reviews. They've already got them public.
Yeah.
So I would say source key quotes from Capterra and G2 reviews.
Testimonials are so helpful. They're so incredibly useful.
Testimonials from precise buyer persona.
And I would get testimonials around specific use cases. Like, they know better than we do the 6 or 8 use cases they're really best for. And I would get testimonials that speak specifically to those use cases. And then from there, I build case studies around it, highlighting those testimonials, speaking to the problem Mailinator solved. What was the problem we were solving? How did Mailinator solve it? And I think that would help a lot.
Cool. I agree. I was wondering, do they have anything on their website? They had the blog, so they've got that. So we've got the blog. Well, you know what? This matches that really well because here's all of those use cases.
They have, and this is so interesting. They have on the Why Mailinator dropdown on their website, they have a button for new use cases where you can submit an idea. If you've got some crazy use case for this that hasn't been considered, they're wildly open to it. I think that's incredibly neat.
This is really cool. I have an idea. I wonder how much traffic.
It's so funny. Listen to what they say. Mailinator was originally built as an experiment, though it wasn't designed to solve a specific problem. It quickly found real-life use cases. I mean, I think we need to unpack what those are. We really need to dive into the use cases and create case studies, and maybe even see how many tabs they have there, how many options they have under Why Mailinator. Maybe start creating tabs for each of the use cases. As you're driving traffic from page, you could drive them to those pages.
Yep. Bingo.
And there's where your forms would live for your leads.
And this is great for the outbound email too. It's like, maybe one of these resonates with you. QA, email receipt testing, load testing. Yeah, this is cool. Okay. All right, so what do we got? Oh, I wanted to look one more time to see if there was anything on here. Support, general support documentation. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be really thorough support stuff because it's all about APIs. And I mean, it's going to be really, really deep support.
And honestly, I think that this makes for a great use case for any content or collateral that they would build, because they've already done the work on this. So, this speaks directly to their buyer. Like, I don't know what this is, but I think somebody in this role is going to know exactly what this is. Okay, so then let me see one more time if there's anything else here. FAQs, we saw that. API documentation, we don't need that. Security, Mailinator blog. Cool. I would probably want to strip out some quotes from this podcast appearance.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So the last thing we got to do here is let's go start talking about the elevator pitch. So like somebody says like, where do you work? Okay, so I work at Mailinator. What does Mailinator do? So Mailinator. Let's see here.
Mailinator helps companies create workflows that delight their customers. Their words, not mine.
Okay. Okay. The QA teams and developers accurately and safely
create and test workflows.
Yeah, dude, that's it. Workflows.
I would say create and test email workflows at scale. That's really what they're doing because they keep talking about multiple inboxes.
Yeah, that's a good point. QA teams and developers accurately and safely create and test email workflows at scale.
Boom.
I can work with that.
Trademark.
There we go. Okay, so let's say last thing we want to do is let's say that we're writing the first outbound email here. So that's the last thing that we'll get onto this, the outbound email. Okay, so I'll say, so in here, I want to put something specific like, let's see.
So given the size of these companies, if we're doing Fortune, what, 1,000 and above, is that what we agreed to? 5,000, something like that?
Yeah, probably 5,000.
Okay, so all these big companies are going to have a newsroom or a press tab of some kind on the website. Most of them will, right? Like I'm going there first. I'm finding the last big press release that is interesting, and I'm going to say something about that. Hey, saw you guys recently acquired XYZ company. That's super cool. I worked with them in the past. Something that shows that I'm doing at least some due diligence here. But you got to be careful though, because when you go broad on company information, like company highlights, it does sound a little canned. So you need to find something that's cool and not just like super stiff and rigid.
Yeah.
This is a cool opportunity to do something like interesting. You may or may not have heard us before, but you definitely struggle with one of the problems we solve.
Well, I like that.
And then I would just list list 3 or 4 of the use cases here. You just bullet, boom, 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 boom.
Now, what's that pain point again? That is.
They also have a free trial. In my experience, though, those free trials are, catch-22. it sounds great. You can get a lot of people to activate and sign up, but because they've got no skin in the game, conversions to paying customers usually suffer a little bit. I don't know what you've seen, Jaron, but that I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, I think I can give them the option, like happy to either show you how
I, I would make I would stop I would make that recommendation. I'm happy to show you how it can make your life easier. Drop a link to the Calendly.
Okay, boom. And then like I selfishly love the PS at the end.
Yep.
Because I think you can bookend the personalization.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, get rid of the either in the email. I'm happy to either. It does. Yeah. Oh. Great. I like that.
I like that too. Okay, so we do the company, features are easy, benefits. I mean, shit, we could even include some of those down there too, but I like what we got.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, once we've got some testimonials, I would drop a testimonial in there on that opening email. You say companies like Asana and MasterCard use us for XYZ. There's an opportunity there to drop a testimonial, a real short one.
Yep. Okay. Sick. Yeah, I also RIP stumbled upon Jessica. I missed that a lot. I wasted a lot of time on that website. Cool. So look, with a straight face, I feel pretty good handing this to somebody and saying go.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree. We did that pretty quickly.
Okay, so I'm going to put that as Mailinator here. Boom. Okay, cool. Well, it could have been worse. Of all the companies we could have pulled up, I think that was not so bad. I think that's pretty decent. Okay, cool. Well, hey, I think that we'll call it there. I know we're scheduled for till 1:15, but I wanted to make sure we knock this out in at least 30 minutes. If there's any questions or comments, obviously the comment thread is open. I'll kind of stall for just a second in case there's anything that anybody wanted to share about this. But I mean, what you're looking at, like this is the process that we'll use for this randomized revenue. I think that it gives Rob and I a challenge, and it's interesting to see us try to do this on the fly. The idea of having some other folks join us to try to do this sounds fun for me. Might not sound so fun for them, but see if we can recruit some more folks to do this with us, because I think this is something pretty cool. And I should probably just send this over to Mailinator and say, hey, we did a little bit of work on this. I'm not going to ask anything from you, but maybe you can find some value.
Hey, Mailinator, call me.
Call me. There it is. All right, cool. Well, hey, Rob, appreciate the time, dude. This was really fun. Thanks for everybody that joined. We'll make sure that we can kind of share takeaways from this, and folks can do with it what they will. And Discover was obviously did a good job at randomizing something we could actually use.
Super cool. Good time. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
All right. See y'all.
See you guys.